Hey everybody, thanks for tuning in to what has become one of my favorite episodes of Ben and Curt Till It Hurts. This is our Road Warrior episode. I had to jump on here at the beginning to clarify a few things before the episode starts. After this, you're going to hear the intro and just like a normal episode. The first thing I have to say was there were some technical difficulties in this episode. My mic stopped working about halfway through the episode, so my voice is being picked up through Ben's microphone. We noticed it after a couple minutes, so it's not like the whole episode is like this. The beginning is normal, the end is normal. There's just a point in the episode where my voice gets really quiet, so you can still hear me. It just isn't as loud as it should be, and then I kind of come back in, and everything is fine. So hopefully you can bear with it and just get through until everything is fixed. The second thing, I made a mistake in this episode. I talked about an episode of South Park where Oprah Winfrey's vagina talks like one of the characters from Mad Max. It's not actually Oprah Winfrey's vagina that does that in South Park. They've just made more than one person's vagina speak, and it was a different episode that I was thinking of. And the last thing real quick is, at the end of this episode, we say we are going to watch the movie Gremlins for next week, and then Gremlins 2 the week after that. After recording, we decided to do a Gremlins double feature. So next week, we will be talking about Gremlins 1 and Gremlins 2. And so if you guys watch the movies with us to be up to speed, that's what's going on next week. So sorry for the technical difficulties. Sorry about my mistake with my knowledge of South Park. And I hope you guys come back next week to listen to our episode about Gremlins 1 and Gremlins 2. Enjoy the episode.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to Ben and Curt Till It Hurts, the culture cast caught at the crossroads of curation and castration. I'm Ben.
And I'm Curt.
Curtis, how are you?
I'm great, Ben.
Great.
I'm great.
Great.
How are you?
Great.
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 We watched a movie.
This week in honor of, oh gosh, what is it, 3 years? 3 years to the month, let's say, since Mad Max Fury Road came out in theaters. This week we watched The Road Warrior.
The Road Warrior. Pray that he's out there. Somewhere.
I didn't know that was why we watched it.
It wasn't. It wasn't.
Okay.
Just a happy coincidence,
happy accident.
Just providence.
I like it.
Yeah, it works well. We should watch Fury Road sometime, too.
We should. I was pretty infuriated when I found out that we were watching the sequel to a movie I hadn't seen.
Yeah, you texted me about that.
I did, immediately, after I realized it.
Curtis, you don't understand. This isn't like other franchises.
Continuity
is loose. It's they don't really worry too much about it. You get a full recap in the beginning of this movie about what happened in the last one.
Pre-Texorcism, I would have shut this down. I would have. We're pushing it back. I got to watch Mad Max, or I would have had to watch Mad Max and Road Warrior in the same night because I watched it last night. Yeah. Since we've started eliminating the categories, trademark. I had to remind. I literally reminded myself of that. I was like, "Stop being a psycho. Just watch the fucking movie. It'll be fine." Yeah.
Did you feel like you were missing something?
I mean, who knows? I don't know. I mean, I guess not. I guess I got it.
Yeah, like I said, they really give you the summary at the beginning of this movie, and like that old-looking part.
Yeah.
Yeah, they
cool
recap.
Monologue.
A little monologue tells you all about how the world went bad and what happened to Max, and then kind of leads you right up to where he is that day. But hey, before we get into that, how have you been?
I've been good. I've been working hard on my music review things, which I had put to bed for a while.
Mm-hmm.
So those will probably never get done, but I'm still working on them. Been listening to a lot of the Misfits. That's been my big project lately.
Yeah.
Other than that, not much. A lot of New Vegas. Still just riding. I finished a Dead Money DLC last night, and every time I do that, it's still like emotionally, like it has like a toll on me.
Do you notice new things every time? Or
Usually, yeah. I mean, most of those like Bethesda games are pretty good at that. Like the first time you play them, like me anyway, I'm kind of invested. I'm like trying to figure out what happens. So like once I already know what happens, I take my time a little bit more, wandering and looking around and stuff. And yeah, I'm loving it.
Yeah, living it, laughing it, loving it.
That's exactly what I say when I'm playing. I am living it, loving it, laughing it right now while I play this game. What have you been up to?
Oh man, I finished Gravity's Rainbow.
Nice.
My Gravity's Rainbow reread. It's an extraordinary novel. Everyone should try to read it. Give it a shot. It's a lot more fun than people make it sound. It brought me to tears at the end. Wow. It was something that didn't happen the first time, but did happen this time, because I just had a more complete understanding of the breadth of the statement of that book, of the umbrella, the way the umbrella of salvation ought to enfold everybody, even those who are typically cast off or shown to be deficient in some way. This salvation even is available to them. Great little book there. Great little book. That Thomas Pynchon did a good job with it. Other than that, I subscribed to Spotify Premium. Ooh, finally. Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. I've been enjoying the commercial-free lifestyle.
Yeah.
Right? It's liberating. I use the app now, so...
Oh, wow.
Yep, I've got the app on there. I had commercial-free, premium. And one of the things that I listened to on there, and I think this got put on my... either on my Discover playlist or like the release radar thing, a band called Show Me the Body. Their album Body War. All right. This is a New York City hardcore punk band that has a great deal of hip hop influence, but they wear it very well. You know, it's just like banjos, a lot of odd instrumentation.
Wait,
a lot of weird stuff going on. Yeah,
where do the banjos come in?
The banjo this is a band that defies genre classification. All right. But what they don't defy is my heart. They're right in line. They're right in line with what I want to hear from hardcore punk at this point. It just feels new. You know, were you a Fugazi guy?
No,
not really. One of the things that I like about Fugazi is that they had a very wide-ranging. They picked very broadly from a lot of different trees of music as a way of expressing what they wanted to say. And I think that Show Me the Body has kind of that same energy to it. Just something unexpected around every corner.
Nice.
One of the reviews that I read described the lead vocalist as sounding like Anthony Kiedis with peanut butter stuck to the roof of his mouth. And as a Red Hot Chili Peppers fan, you know I was all about that.
You're a Red Hot Chili Peppers fan?
I really like the Chili Peppers,
wow.
Man. Yeah.
Remember last week we were talking about greatest hits bands? I've never listened to much of their stuff, but
their greatest hits are great.
Yeah,
can't deny it. Cannot deny that.
Speaking of reviews, I guess I have one more thing.
Fantano.
No, Fantano. We're leaving Melon alone this week.
All right.
I like to go and read Facebook and Yelp and TripAdvisor reviews of places I used to work.
Mm-hmm.
And then I read the bad reviews to see if I can be like, huh, yeah. Or be like, nah, they're dumb. Because that there's a fair amount of that, on that type of thing too. And I went and I was reading reviews of the bar that I used to work at, and I was reading the good reviews and the bad reviews, and most of them fell pretty in line with how I feel about the place now that I'm removed from it. But one of the things, I don't have it here to read, unfortunately, but I was reading the reviews and I read this. I found it to be a stunning review. Just a really nice, the atmosphere was great. The food was good. We went and we got this item, and it was so good that when we went a second time, we got the same thing, and it was just as good. 3 out of 5 stars. I just can't. I was thinking to tell you this because I know that you've brought some reviews to the table of things we've reviewed, and I just stray away from that. And so now just getting into that a little bit, I'm just like, man, people are fucking weird that like put these I mean, we're doing the same thing.
Yes.
Put our opinions out there, but I really hope that when I say some shit about the Road Warrior today, someone just has to like pause and then like breathe deeply and then just be like, what a fucking idiot. So,
and it's not going to be me.
Yeah, that's my mindset today. So as you guys are listening, just like be prepared that's where I'm at right now.
So I just cards on the table. Let's start talking about the Road Warrior. Okay, when we were watching the Road Warrior, this was probably my third or fourth time watching it in my life, and I have loved it more every time. And I said to my wife, friend of the show, my wife who was on my wife who was on the show last week, I said to her, I said, Megan, if Curtis doesn't like this movie, I'm going to cry and scream. And lo and behold,
I think
you're going to make me fucking go through with this, aren't you?
That might be a little harsh because I think what I said when you asked if I liked it was, man, that was pretty good.
And what I heard was Ben, I think that you're a bad person, personally.
I personally like you less because of how you feel about this film.
That's what I heard from your words. Your word when you said, I think that The Road Warrior is a good movie, I felt betrayed.
I started sweating, and there was this ringing in my ears when you said that, Ben. Yeah. And I'm not okay.
It was like, you remember the part in Kill Bill when she sees the woman in the suburb? I can't remember her name.
Yeah.
The like, woo,
yeah.
woo, down, that all started playing in my mind.
I like that.
Yeah.
Now I'm happy that it happened. No, I liked it. I think that I missed the train on it. I think that's pretty much what happened.
I mean, man, I didn't watch this movie in 1982 when it came out.
Yeah, that's fair, but sometimes when there are like really important movies that I haven't seen yet, I'll go watch them. Like I watched Jaws for the first time last year, and I was
you loved it.
I was like, that movie fucking ruled. I'm a
fucking Road Warrior.
I'm
didn't
a
get the
loser
same
for
courtesy.
not having seen that already. And I wanted to like Road Warrior more than I did. Like I thought it was good. I don't have a whole lot of like bad stuff to say about it. I think, as I was saying before we started recording, I didn't realize how much like Road Warrior was responsible for everything that's like 80s punk post-apocalyptic.
All of it. Yeah.
All of it.
Yeah.
So when I watched it now with like 40 years of building off of that, it felt a little basic, but I still enjoyed it. It was like Waterworld with sand.
Man,
that was
you're walking on shaky fucking ground right now, Curtis. I'm a race car in the red. All right.
I wanted to think of the most offensive comparison.
It was like Porky's.
That was it. It was like Waterworld, but really dry.
Mm-hmm.
It gave me a deeper appreciation for Fallout.
Something I thought could not be done.
There are elements in the Fallout series that, since the 3D, I mean, since before the 3D ones, but even from the 3D, I didn't realize that the generic leather armor is just straight up Mad Max's clothes.
Yes.
Like it's the jacket with the same outfit. Patches on it and everything.
Same places. They even put a fucking leg brace on you, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah.
No, I don't think that's true.
Oh, well, it definitely has the like over the right hand shoulder, big patch.
It has that classic silhouette.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's Max's silhouette for sure.
Yeah. There's also some challenges in New Vegas. That it's one's called White Line Nightmare.
Yeah, tell me more about New Vegas.
That I did
What's New Vegas about?
I did not realize was like a reference to Mad Max.
Mm-hmm.
And then when I watched The Road Warrior, I was like, oh man, like that makes a lot more sense now.
What is White Line Nightmare?
White Line Nightmare is a challenge to kill 20 Jackal fiends or Viper gang members with like baseball bats, shotguns, and like tire irons and stuff. So it's all like the same type of like raider bad guys
Yeah.
with the same types of weapons from. I thought White Line Nightmare, and maybe I'm sure it's like a double meaning. I just assumed that was because the fiends are all like addicted to drugs and Fallout.
Yeah.
Didn't realize that White Line Nightmare was like a White Lines on the Road
reference.
reference.
Okay.
Yeah.
Huh.
Yeah. So that's all I have to say
Aren't
about
the lines on
Fallout
the road
today.
yellow, Curtis?
I think the ones on the edge. They say White Line Nightmare in the film.
Oh, okay.
And I think it means the ones on the edge.
Oh, I forgot
yeah,
about that.
the ones in
Yeah.
the middle are
All right.
certainly
All
yellow.
right.
Anyway,
All right.
so I did like the Road Warrior.
Calm me.
Some of my favorite things about it.
Mm-hmm.
Some of the climactic chase stuff, there was no score. It was just loud revving engines and banging, and that was
that last chase scene.
That was
like,
fantastic.
That last chase scene is the equivalent of like the Death Proof chase scene, where the whole movie builds up to that and then it delivers.
That was a pretty intense, like edge of my seat, like thrill. The one thing though that I think has been improved upon since then is that movie was kind of low budget anyway, wasn't it?
A couple $1,000,000, yeah.
Yeah, and I feel like now, and I haven't seen Fury Road, but I think now if you show that type of chase, you get a much wider shot and like a bigger view of it, and a lot of that felt very close. It kind of reminded me of that scene from like Death to Smoochie. I don't know if you've ever seen that.
Nope.
So there's a part where it looks like there's like this hated individual is like coming out of a building. There are people protesting all around him, and then it shows like the camera pulled back, and it's like comedic because it's such a small protest.
Like a couple people, yeah.
And that's going on the list, by the way. That's an important
Death to
one.
Smoochie?
Yeah. It felt like if they had pulled back, there wouldn't be much to see. So I just think that now they purposefully like do wider shots with more stuff.
You get several shots that show you the whole field of battle for that climactic scene, though.
Yeah.
You know, like you can see there are, within the fiction of the film, of course, illusions are used for every like challenging shot in the movie. But yeah, they're like, what, 15, 20 cars driving along that road?
I did think, as far as like the whole movie, there was some great cinematography of like, this is a desert.
Mm-hmm.
Like, this is a big, wide, dry place. And I did enjoy that. And some of that was incorporated in the chase scenes, but parts of it just felt like it was too up close to...
What I like about the cinematography in Road Warrior is that every shot has a distinct purpose. You know, like there's not a wasted millisecond in this movie. Every shot is showing you the relationship between different objects during the action scene so that you have that sense of everything that's going on. Every shot is showing you character moments. It's showing you, emotional peaks. It's really fantastic, just beat for beat. And I don't know what the storyboarding process was like for this movie or what, but man, George Miller is one of those guys that just is a director like from out of this world. Like, who knows where that guy got the talent that he has, but he has this incredible eye for storytelling, for visual storytelling. The script for this movie was probably, 45 pages long?
Yeah.
There's not a lot of talking in this movie. And Max says, 100 words total for the whole movie. It's all silent. It's all shown and not told. It's all... This movie's just a masterpiece, Curtis. Like, watch it again.
Watch it again.
Again.
Speaking of things missing...
Watch it till you like it.
I watched it on Amazon Prime. I rented it.
Mm-hmm.
And
as did I, actually.
Did you notice there was one spot, maybe more than one, but there was definitely one spot where a few cells were missing? It skipped a little, it was missing a few reels or something.
It's not missing anything. No, George Miller does that in... Well, he does it in Road Warrior, but he also does it in Fury Road at a couple points, where to increase the visceral impact of a moment, you speed the film up a little bit.
Not that.
No?
There were clearly things jumped, just Mad Max was getting into his car, getting settled in, and hand jolted with a couple frames missing.
Well, yeah, I think that's supposed to make it feel more visceral, make you feel the impact more.
This was definitely not intentional.
Man,
but
I did not notice that.
But no. I did notice kind of the some of the old school techniques like that, like where they'll show things like played faster to emphasize, and that was pretty cool. They don't do, if they do it now, they're better at it, because back when they used to do it, like especially like I first started noticing it in like the Twilight Zone, where they'd speed things up like a car moving. Mm-hmm. You're like, that looks fucking weird as fuck. Yeah. Like that guy's also moving really quickly behind the car. Like, yeah, no, I liked it. It was good, but I mean, I don't know. I honestly just think that it's just like one of those things that it, as impactful as it was, it kind of has waned a little bit.
There is no imitator that has reached or surpassed the Road Warrior's sheer quality, other than Mad Max Fury Road, which I think is a better movie than Road Warrior. But, like, Road Warrior still, to me, it's incredible just how much this movie holds up. And just how much, despite the many pretenders to the throne, despite the many people who saw this movie and said, like, wow, I want to do something like that. Not to cash in on Road Warrior, but just to say, like, wow, that is inspiringly amazing, which is what I would say the Road Warrior is. Despite the many people who have tried to glean some of that glory off the Road Warrior, nobody has even come close.
I'm trying to think of other movies, not to dispute this argument, but just other movies that may have pulled, you know, do you know of any off the top of your head?
Not a lot of people take, like, whole hog inspiration from it, but, like, any post-apocalyptic movie generally will have, or any movie with a big chase scene in it. Like, I think that the climactic chase scene in The Matrix Reloaded takes a lot of inspiration from the climactic chase scene in The Road Warrior, and it's good. Like,
I hate that movie.
It's a great. I can't wait to do our Matrix series.
Oh, that might be the one that I just flat out.
He won't.
I can't
let us do it. You'll do the Star Wars prequels, but you won't do the Matrix sequels. Will you do The Matrix?
I will do The Matrix.
All right,
maybe.
I think I'll be able to sucker you into. Not to play my hand too open here, but I think I'll be able to sucker you. Well, you wanted to watch Mad Max.
Yeah.
Despite the fact that Road Warrior is, I mean, it's not completely disconnected, but it's like a redo of Mad Max in some ways.
I think I had started to watch Mad Max once in college, and
you thought it was boring.
It was very slow and like low budget, but I have a more in tune with film making now, I guess, so I could probably appreciate it differently.
All right, we're gonna watch The Matrix, and I won't. Don't worry, I won't try to get you to watch the sequels, but I will. I will.
We'll end up doing it.
We're gonna end up watching those sequels.
Man, I hate Reloaded.
It's better than you remember it, man. It's better.
Damn it, you conned me. We'll find out if it's better. Wait a minute. Now I have to watch it.
I knew I'd get you on my side somehow.
Took all of 4 seconds to trick me into agreeing to it. You know what? Fine, we'll watch it, Ben.
No, I don't think you could watch it.
But you don't dare me to watch it.
I don't think you're brave enough. So that's something that I think takes inspiration from it. I probably, before I made a claim about none of them being able to hold a candle to it, I probably should have had some in my mind that.
I mean, that's fine.
That
I make claims
that attempted
all the time.
to hold a candle to it. We live in a society.
I thought, and this is a movie I haven't seen in a long time, so I can't say that it's better. In fact, most would probably disagree. But I did think of The Running Man a lot while I watched it, which I did. I used to really like that movie, but I also haven't seen it since. I was a lot younger.
I never watched that movie, but I did read the Stephen King short story. What's the movie like?
I've never read the short story. It's just like super 80s action, but also pretty hardcore sci-fi. It's got a lot of your like ham-fisted one-liner action.
Okay, what's the movie about though?
There's like people that get arrested and sent to prison can participate in a life or death game show about trying to escape from these like bounty hunters, and each bounty hunter has they're like a character in a video game, like picture like Mortal Kombat fighters. They each have like their thing,
a gimmick. They're like Mega Man bosses.
Yeah, exactly. So
you kill them and you inherit their weapon.
They take different fugitives and try to have them escape these bounty hunters for like 12 hours or something.
It's gladiatorial combat.
Yeah, and it's just Arnie gets arrested for something that he didn't do, and he has to do it, and he has to go up against all these cool themed bounty hunters.
That's a very loose adaptation of the story.
Hey, you're the one that said post-apocalyptic borrows from the Road Warrior.
So are you making the claim right now that The Running Man, Arnold Schwarzenegger's 1980s opus, is a better movie than The Road Warrior?
I just said I haven't seen The Running Man in a long time.
I'm just saying I liked it more.
I'm just saying 13-year-old me liked The Running Man more than 28-year-old me liked... That's probably not even fair to say. I really did like this.
As a 13-year-old.
I really did like The Road Warrior. I guess maybe I went in with my expectations too high. I thought it was fine. I don't know. I mean, they drive cars and they fight over gasoline.
What did you think about the cars?
They were okay. They were fine. Cars are cool.
Have you ever seen a movie with cooler cars than this one? Do you like cars?
I don't
Are you
give
a car
a shit
guy?
about cars.
You don't care about cars?
Like,
man, maybe that's my fucking thing.
I drive a bucket and I...
Yeah, but that's the thing about the cars in the Road Warriors, that they're all buckets. They're all shitty cars, right? But watching the Road Warrior, you can fantasize about, like, if I attached a bunch of spikes to the outside of my Corolla... Maybe
I'll do that.
Right?
Are you not allowed to do that?
Because... I think that probably you're definitely not allowed to do that. You're not allowed to twisted metal your car out. I think that the Road Warrior probably made me understand car culture. Know what I mean?
Not at all. But
you don't know what I mean at all? It didn't make you feel like when you saw that Interceptor, when you saw Max's car with the belt on top that whirs. No. That didn't make you feel like that didn't arouse you at all?
I don't care about that.
You did not become erect at the sight of...
You were not erect while watching this? Nope.
No? Nothing?
Nothing.
Are you even a human being, man? Does blood flow through your veins?
Maybe not.
Show me the switch on your arm that you use that we can...
Where do you charge yourself at night?
It's in this very room.
Yeah, I actually don't leave this room.
That's why the CRTs, the LCD TVs don't put out enough light. It's the beam of the tube.
I just watch VHS tapes and recharge all night.
What else arouses me about the Road Warrior? The feral child.
He was cool.
Right? Okay, so it was all cool.
Yeah, it was a good movie.
But just none of it aroused you. Not to say that I'm aroused by the feral child. This is all coming out wrong.
Yeah, I mean, no, it was
the
cool.
feral child is a great part of this movie, and the fact that he's the narrator at the end.
Oh, okay. That was a little.
I grew up to be a great leader.
That was a little much
I grew up to talk.
Yeah, I was gonna say, if you can't even speak by the time that you're this kid's age, you probably wouldn't speak that well.
It's the inspiring power of Max, the wasteland wanderer.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it just left you cold.
No, I mean, it was good. It was fine. It was a good movie.
Yeah. It didn't excite you. Were there exciting parts of the movie? Were there any parts where you were at the edge of your seat?
Yeah, I mean, that last chase was really cool with the chase. I thought Lord Humongous was really cool.
Yep.
Because you don't really get that in, like, just the...
Big, bulky, yet incredibly, well-spoken.
Yeah, that was cool. Yeah. Kind of made me wonder, like I said, I've never seen this movie, so now I recognized, it's just one of those moments where I'm watching a movie and I'm seeing, oh, that's what that's from. This is... my whole life is Mad Max references, and I didn't know it. So, when he gave his little speech to, have them surrender, it's it sucks, because it was very similar to, the Apocalypse Now thing, where I'm like, man, I'm sure this is very emotional, but I just keep thinking about Major Payne. So, with this, it was this is really cool, but all I can think of is the 100 times I've seen South Park parody it, so...
Here, talk to them, Butters. Me? Well, what the heck am I supposed to say? Just tell them if they leave town peacefully, we won't have to resort to violence.
Just walk away. You can put a stop to all this. Just walk away, and we will spare your lives. Just walk away.
Ooh, he's pretty good.
Just walk away.
And also, I think the one with Oprah Winfrey, when her vagina talks, it uses the same voice as...
That's all well and good, but we can do the Road Warrior.
No, we go in, we kill. No more talk, we kill. Soon, my dog of war, but we have to do it my way. You just wait. Ah!
Oh.
Yeah.
Sounds like the Road Warrior just activated all these other chambers in your mind, and there wasn't enough room for you to experience the Road Warrior as it is.
That's one of those things where it's such an impactful movie that most of the significant things I've already seen parodied, and if I haven't seen them parodied, I've just seen them expanded upon. So it just kind of felt like level 1.
Nothing has expanded upon the Road Warrior.
Well, I like post-apocalyptic stuff, it's just...
It was all worse. It's all gotten worse since the Road Warrior. The farther you get from the source, the Road Warrior is the source of all that is good in the post-apocalyptic genre. And it now has the successor. Fury Road has delivered upon so much of the promise of the Road Warrior.
Before you saw the Road Warrior?
No. I watched all the Mad Max movies leading up to Fury Road. And I had my mind blown, man.
I'm willing to watch them all. I enjoyed it enough to do that. Yeah.
Are we done?
No, I mean, we don't have to be. I just, it was good.
It's a great movie, man.
I mean, yeah, it was
like,
good.
what did you think of Mel Gibson? Are you a Mel Gibson fan? I feel like we've talked about this before.
Yeah, I mean, I am, and it sucks that he has to suck, because
You know where I stand on this.
I don't know if I recall, but...
Mel Gibson did nothing wrong.
Nothing at all?
Mel Gibson did nothing especially wrong.
Packs of N-words?
Everybody fucks up sometimes. He didn't know he was being recorded.
Oh. Nah, man. I mean, I like Mel Gibson. I liked him up until all that stuff started to happen.
Mel Gibson has apologized for what he did, and I think that we should all move on, as he has.
As he has?
Yeah.
Of course he wants to.
No, I mean, he's moved past that time in his life.
And, yeah, it was definitely different seeing the uncut Australian Mel Gibson.
The young, handsome Mel Gibson before the beard and everything. Thick accent.
That
Yep.
was pretty interesting. Check. There we go. Anyway.
All right, are we just going to pick that up?
Yeah, we'll just pick up from there. I don't know. Yeah.
Technical difficulties.
I'll
some weird shit
trim that
happened.
a little bit.
Like, thank goodness you look at the waveform the whole time.
Yeah. That would have been bad. I don't even... And now I look like I'm too loud. I don't know.
Oh, man. Who knows?
It's crappy equipment I have. Anyway. His accent was really thick. And it was weird. So, but like in a good way. It was fun. I liked it. Yeah, I mean, he was great. Mel Gibson was great in it. I can't think of... He was still pretty young in this.
This was like one of his first big roles. I don't know how old he was. But,
yeah, I'm not sure how old he was in
like
the first one
or
either.
The first Mad Max. No, me either.
Because I do know that at the time, at least in Australia, you could finish school. Like, you could test out when you were like 15.
Oh, wow.
And Mel Gibson tested out of school very young to pursue acting. So it was cool to see him in such a young role. Most of the stuff that I recognize him from is stuff like Signs and what we talked about, What Women Want last week.
Yep.
We'll do a Mel Gibson double feature of Signs and What Women Want.
And Apocalypto.
Man, I was not a fan of Apocalypto.
And The Passion of the Christ.
I do not want to watch The Passion of the Christ.
It's a great movie.
It may be. But I don't know.
Yeah.
I should watch it just to make my own views on it, but the things I've heard make it sound like it.
It is a harrowing movie.
Yeah.
It's a harrowing journey.
Yeah.
Yep.
the things I've heard, I don't know if I'm not informed on it, but I don't know if it's anything I would care to watch.
It is one of the most frighteningly violent movies I've ever seen.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, he really goes all the way with it. Like,
Yeah.
he's showing you what this would have been like.
Does he hate Jews?
No.
No.
I mean, I don't know what's in his heart, but the Passion of the Christ doesn't hate Jews. The Passion of the Christ is a telling of the gospel story of the execution of Jesus.
The main criticism that I had heard of the movie was that it came off as torture porn that didn't encompass enough about Christ's life. It like focused on, albeit a very important part, but like that one part that just served as like, I really don't, I was going to say propaganda, but I don't want to use that word. Just like torture porn for self-gratifying Christians. That was how I had kind of heard it explained. I haven't seen it at all. But if it's that, I don't have much interest in it. If it's about the teachings of Christ, I'm more, I don't have a clue. I'll watch it, I guess, now that it's been a while.
It's a good movie. Wait for next Easter, all right?
Is that when he's coming back?
It's when he comes back every year, man. It makes the most sense from a Christian worldview perspective. And that particular criticism seemed to come from a lot of people who might say things, who might not be Christians, but might say like, yeah, Christ was a great teacher. I believe that Christ was a great teacher and he had a lot of great things to say. Which is fine. Like, yeah, he was that. But the Christian worldview says he was that and also more.
Yeah.
He died and came back to life as a paschal lamb, a sin sacrifice to wash us of Adam's original sin. Cool, right? Good stuff.
Nice thing to do.
A good thing for him to have done. And the point of the Passion of the Christ is to show exactly what Christ went through for us. Anyway, this is not Godcast.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know much else what to say about it, I guess. That I did like the movie. I thought it had some really cool scenes and parts.
What were some of the parts that you liked?
I really liked seeing. I liked the little fort base.
The oil, yeah.
The refinery that the bad guys had, and then the little...
Wait. Oh, the base that the bad guys had.
Yeah, both, though. And then the one, I really thought it was cool how they... One of the most exciting things about post-apocalyptic art is seeing how the people that create it incorporate old world... That's a Fallout thing, I guess, but like old world items into this new world. So it was cool seeing like them having like the bus that slides in and out as like for their gated community. And I did think this has nothing to do with that, but I was like, go figure that feral kid has a boomerang because we're in Australia. That was
yeah, you gotta have a boomerang.
You gotta have a kid with a boomerang.
How else is he gonna kill his wallabies?
Yeah, for
wallaby burgers.
How's he gonna chop fingers off? Yeah.
Yeah, I love that. Speaking of the forts, the little bases that the bad guys set up, one of my favorite scenes in the movie is not the climactic chase scene, but the scene where Max goes to retrieve the big rig and drives it back to the base. That whole chase sequence where he's driving through these camps of raiders and bandits, and they're all attacking the big rig, and it's getting shit done to it, and it's just a great scene. You kind of see them set up in their bases, and you see them mobilizing, which is something that maybe you don't see in a lot of other movies. A lot of other movies that aren't made by someone as brilliant a filmmaker as George Miller might make it seem like those guys are just coming out of closets at him, right?
Yeah.
But the attention to detail in this movie and the attention to consistent visual storytelling makes it so that, no, these guys were just hanging out, and then they hear the big rig coming, and it's time to get on your motorbike with your leather slave and go after it.
I did appreciate a lot of the detail in the film, and I think it is because the film comes from such like an authentic place where if you were going to make like a huge Hollywood budget post-apocalyptic movie, you have to ask yourself a lot of the same kind of questions as like any like fantasy movie, like, oh, what would their clothing look like? What would armor and weapons look like? And you have money. So it was like football pads and like, you know, colanders for helmets and stuff, like
really creative stuff.
Really cool stuff. And it was one of those things where it seemed like almost like the imagination of a child that you lose as an adult that they channeled. Like somebody very creative had to have seen those, you know, a very creative adult had to see those items lying around a junkyard and say, oh, you know, well, maybe if I were, you know, living in this world, I would use this for this type of armor.
Well, now, it's funny that you mentioned that because this is something from the trivia that I was reading today, but George Miller was actually 8 years old when he directed this movie.
Yeah.
He was 5 when he directed the original Mad Max, and he was 8 when he directed this one, so that's where some of that childlike vim and vigor comes from. I
really admire his recognition that maybe there shouldn't be a lot of dialogue in this movie because he, you know, wasn't a strong writer for being a, you know...
Plus, dialogue is boring.
8-year-old, yeah. That's true.
Movies aren't about dialogue. Movies
that's a
are
good
about,
point.
about big cars and explosions.
If I were 8 and I were going to make a movie, it would
be The Road Warrior.
Cars and explosions.
Yeah.
Wow. You know what?
Right?
Now that I know he was 8...
Am I starting to get through to you with this?
You know what?
Like,
I think The Road Warrior is going to go on the fridge. I think it's fridge material.
It ought to go on the tight shit list.
That's pretty bold. That I think I can...
All right, you're not going to let it on the tight shit list. That's fine.
I can agree.
No, it's okay.
No,
we both need to be enthusiastic, and you're lukewarm about the Road Warrior. This is just something. This is just something that I'm going to have to come to terms with.
No, like there's gotta be room for how I feel about Road Warrior, like to really like it, but I not just love it. Like I really liked it. I think I can call it tight shit.
There's no room on the tight shit list for your initial reaction to me suggesting that it go on the tight shit list tells me all I need to know about whether or not it should go on the tight shit list. Your first reaction was like, well, we can go to tape if we want.
Yeah.
This is all the podcast. This is all being recorded. This
is all You, the listeners know.
This is going on wax.
I can say whatever I want, and they know the truth because I just said it moments ago.
Yeah, we all heard it.
I hesitated.
You did. You did.
And my silence spoke volumes.
That hesitation spoke 1,000 words to me.
Yeah. We should do Running Man sometime.
Yeah, I guess we should.
You're like, I cannot wait to diligently pick apart this inferior film.
Yeah. No, we can't compare anything to The Road Warrior other than Mad Max Fury Road, which, like I said, is a better movie in many ways.
But you know what I mean, though, about how there needs to be room for like things that are just good. I don't need. There
is room in the world for them.
I don't want to.
There's not room on the tight shit list for them.
I don't want to polarize. Like, I either hate or love this movie. I did like it. I just
if you don't love it,
I think I wanted more. Yeah, I mean that's what I want to get away from.
Yeah.
I spent like my whole life in that frame of mind. Mm-hmm. Like everything was like this or this. Mm-hmm. And I fucking blame Nintendo, honestly. It was
binary.
Do you like Sega or Nintendo?
Yeah, Manichean.
Do you like Coke or Pepsi? Do you like South Park or Simpsons? Later, do you like South Park or Family Guy better? Like that's
well, no, but that's liking things better. Where I would say that I do think that if I sit down and think about it long enough, almost everything I can say either like thumbs up or thumbs down.
No, certainly, but where I was, it seemed like in high school, it was the things you love. You have to love. You have to spend your evenings like reading about them online and watching them over and over again and researching them. And if it's not good enough to warrant that, you just don't like it. That was where I was. It was a very black and white view. Yeah. I really like now that I can openly just, that was really good. I'll watch it someday
But
again.
then why are the people listening to this podcast, Curtis?
I actually don't think anyone does listen to this podcast. That's the problem with podcasts, or especially about media. You're so passionate about the things you're passionate about, but we're in episode 45. Like, how many things can I be, like, super passionate about? Especially,
you gotta find that passion inside of you. You gotta find the fire. You gotta find that light, that fire, and let it out into the world.
I mean,
I want to keep my fire. I want to keep my fire under a bushel, says Curtis.
Yeah, I mean...
It's safe under there.
It's safe. I don't have to be passionate about everything. That's the tough thing, is like you...
Live your life with passion.
I think, like,
every waking moment ought to be a passionate moment, Curtis.
We don't have time for that. That's just looking for something where there's nothing. I don't know if... I guess, unfortunately, it can't be on the tight shit list, because you bring up a good point about... I hesitated too much. Mm-hmm. That fraction of a second.
It's on my tight shit list. My own personal one.
That's fine.
I'm putting it on the fridge.
You should tack your own tight shit list under the Ben and Curt Till It Hurts tight shit list.
Yep. It's Mulholland Drive and the Road Warrior. I like roads a lot, I'm realizing. Roads and road-based movies and... Yeah. I'm living in a white line nightmare.
I thought we were getting away from the David Lynch thing.
Listen, we don't need to relitigate the David Lynch
but
series.
we're just going down the other path.
Every time we try to talk about something else, we end up talking about David Lynch or fucking Dreams or Jesus Christ. I think those are the poles around which are that's the trinary
don't
star.
Don't forget New Vegas.
Fucking New Vegas.
I think David Lynch changed you. I think he opened up your worldview to the road and and to dreams a little more. This podcast has changed us.
I can't deny that.
Well,
all right.
What final thoughts?
The Road Warrior is a masterpiece, and everybody should watch it. If you're interested in action movies or directing or anything, if you're interested in the way film can be used to communicate an archetypal story in a new way, because I don't know if you picked up on this, but like as far as like genre classification goes, every hero based genre is represented in the Road Warrior. It's a western, it's a samurai movie, it's the classic hero's journey with Max as the hero. He is the all hero. There's a town that's under distress. Max needs to go help them. It's an archetypal story. It's an elemental story, and that's why it fills me with so much passion to talk about it. Is because it's just incredible. Also, what did you think of the ending? What happened at the end of the Road Warrior? This is a test.
Spoilers.
Yep. Spoiler alert, everybody.
They crashed the tanker and realized that it was actually filled with sand. Mm-hmm. And the oil that they had been protecting was in barrels on the bus they were using to get away with, and they drive to where they hope, the 2,000 miles away, where they hope is their new
the coast
haven,
based on a pamphlet, based on a vacation advertisement that they found. What did you think of like Max's journey? What do you think of what that meant for Max's journey as a character? Well,
it's a little tough not knowing what happened to him really in the first one.
Nope, it's not.
So
the first one has no bearing on this, man.
I mean, it was nice that it brought him back to his humanity, I guess. Right?
Is that how you read it?
I mean,
how do you think he felt at the end of the movie?
I don't know.
You got no thoughts on?
I don't think I have any thoughts on that. He lost his dog, so he got a feral kid for a pet instead.
My new pet, the feral child. I handed him a music
really
box.
Had a lot in common with the dog, honestly.
That dog couldn't throw a boomerang like that. And that feral kid's going to want more than a little bit of that chow. And I don't think he stayed with the feral kid, did he? Did the feral kid stay with him?
I think
the feral kid went with the crew.
Oh, really?
Yeah, Max went on alone, I believe.
Oh, I was just thinking. For some reason, I thought he was with him because he was there on the.
He's there on the truck.
Max was driving.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I don't have a whole lot of...
Well, like he goes in. Max's character is all about like how invested am I going to get in this community. He doesn't want to get invested at all because last time he was invested in something in his family, last time he really opened his heart and allowed himself to be passionate about something, he got hurt. So the Road Warrior is his journey with this community, kind of getting farther and farther in, and just at the moment that he barely allows himself to feel passionate about this community, and they put him on this tanker and they send him off on a death mission, and just so that he can be a distraction.
Okay.
That doesn't make you feel anything?
I guess not.
Wow. All right.
I don't know, man. I wasn't picking up big readings from the end of it, I guess.
No?
Yeah.
Oh, it's such a fascinating moment to me, because it's like Max at the end has his, in some ways, because he does also help, he truly helps them, and he goes through a lot to help them, but not in the way that he thought he was helping them. And he realizes that all in one moment as he watches the sand pour out of the truck. It was just sand. And that moment is also foreshadowed earlier in the movie, because Papa Gallo, the leader of the group, he's thinking about how little time they have left, and he's watching a little time, what do you call that thing? A sand timer. He's watching the sand pour from one side and the other, and he gets the idea in that moment. You can see the switch flip in his mind. I'm telling you, man, there's a lot going on in this movie. There's a lot going on in this movie. It's an incredible emotional journey. It's for being so simple and having so little dialogue, for being all action based. Every shot shows an action. That's to me, that's one of the ideals of film. It's like every shot should show someone doing something. This movie meets that, but it's not just action. There's also an implied and depicted emotional storyline that happens along with it. Character arcs happen just through action, not through dialogue. It's an extraordinary film, Curtis. Do you have any final thoughts on this?
Mad Max is a good movie, and you should watch it. Or The Road Warrior, I guess I should say. Mad Max 2 is a good movie.
Mad Max 2, The Road Warrior.
Is a good movie, and you should watch it. You may, if you haven't seen it yet, you may have missed the bus. You should get at us.
You didn't miss the bus. Don't listen to Curtis. Go watch The Road Warrior. You're going to like it. You might even love it.
You might. I don't know, man. Not sold.
Yeah.
And now you're pushing me the other way.
Yeah, no. That's what I want. That's what I want. Is because if you're not like coming to bat for this movie, then there must be things wrong with it.
Yeah.
Right? So tell me what's wrong with The Road Warrior. It's boring.
It's
nothing happens.
It's not boring. It's just, a movie can be good without being great, and that's...
But something has to make it good and not great. I'm sorry I'm pushing you so much on this, but I'm just really interested to hear. I feel like you're holding something back.
No, I just watched it and it was like, yeah, that was pretty good.
Okay. All right.
I don't know. I don't know what else it should have offered me, but it was just pretty good, I guess.
Okay.
Final thoughts.
Final thoughts from Curtis. It was fine.
It was a good movie. This is like what's tough about podcasting, about media, is when you've exhausted a lot of the media, or when you have a co-host that likes things that you don't like or haven't seen, and vice versa. Sometimes you have to watch or listen to something, and then you're just like, I don't really have a lot to say about that. It was good. Like, usually the idea to do a podcast comes from a place of like, I am so passionate about this thing that I just want to talk about it. And not every movie can get that out of me, at least. So that's kind of where I am with Mad Max. I don't have any huge criticisms for it. I thought it was a good movie. I'll watch it again. I'm interested now in watching the other ones more than I ever have been. Mm-hmm. And that's about where I got to put it.
Yeah, I think that we should try to, because I've definitely had shows where I've felt the same way you do about The Road Warrior.
Yeah.
But I think that we should try to find ways to like stimulate the discussion a little more.
Sure.
Yeah.
We're growing. We're a growing podcast.
Yeah.
Not numbers wise. We're pretty
we're stagnant.
We're pretty steady. We have our three listeners, and we're good.
Yeah.
So, you want to wrap it up then?
Yeah, sure.
What are we doing next week?
Gremlins.
Gremlins.
The Joe Dante movie.
Yeah.
Gremlins.
I mean, I like that. I watched that last winter. That's like one of my Christmas horror movies that I
haven't seen it since I was a little kid.
Yeah.
Yeah. Inspired, this Gremlins and Gremlins 2 duology is inspired by a Twitter account, the Institute of Gremlins 2 Studies. It's one of my favorite Twitter accounts. I've never seen Gremlins 2 though, and I really want to.
I don't know if I've ever seen it either, or if I have, I saw it a very, very long time ago.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, we'll be talking about Gremlins next week. Gremlins 2 the week after that. Then something else after that.
Signs.
We can do signs.
Signs.
We'll have fun with signs.
Yeah.
And so yeah. If you enjoy this fucking weird show, you can listen to plenty more of these weird shows.
We got a lot of them.
Becoming more and more hacked up and edited and off course and out of focus by subscribing to Black Gold Podcast on iTunes and Stitcher. You can follow me, ya boy, KurtCake5K on Twitter and Instagram. You can follow Ben and Curt till it hurts on Twitter at Ben_and_Kurt. And you can also listen to Ben and Curt till it hurts on the YouTube.
If you want to stare at a still image while watching it.
You know what? I a lot of the content I watch is on YouTube, and a lot of times I just have it playing. Yeah. So YouTube is a great platform
it is very cool
for that. There's very little commitment to it, which I like. You don't need to like fill your phone up with stuff or download specific apps, which, you know,
it's just pure streaming.
I think probably everybody that listens to this show has their smartphone at like 98% capacity, and every time you want to do something new, you have to clear shit out of it. So YouTube's great for not having to do that. Is that it?
I think that's everything.
All right. Thanks for listening, everybody. We'll see you next week.
Bye.